Is everybody else ready?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to see if all these tools work. As you can clearly see, well, one of the things about being a Toastmaster is you need to be able to present yourself and not a presentation, right? Visual aids, you need to be that visual aid, which is a big part of our job because, well, let me ask you a question. What do Taylor Swift and the NFL and Coca-Cola have in common? Don't be shy.
Brand.
Brand, yes, and
The liquor.
I got a lot of them sitting in this room. Public relations. That's what it's all about. If you think about it, if you had never been to a, come on in, if you had never been to a Taylor Swift concert, or you had never drank a little bit of Coke, or you had never seen a football game, would you ever go if you had never had marketing hit you with it? I mean, would you drink a Coke? I have no idea what it tastes like. How do you even tell about what it tastes like? That is the power of marketing. And that is your role. And let me tell you, you all have the most awesome jobs in the world. It is so cool, yes?
Yes.
Oh, come on, some excitement. Because think about it. Just picture this for a moment. Your job, unlike all the others, you're president. You got to tell everybody what to do. Okay, that's kind of fun, but secretary, what do? Take notes. I feel like I'm back in school, right? Treasurer, okay, you got to make sure that there isn't a penny off. I hate doing that for myself, much less for a club. We know VP of Education is like the hardest job in the world. You should get paid for that one. All right. Well, with that in mind, you guys get to do whatever you want. All you have to do is make sure people are coming in the door. That's it. Have fun. Get creative. I guess that's why they picked me to do this session. Think of it this way. If your club were a flower, you would be the color and the fragrance. So don't stink, Trey. let me ask you this. All right. Finish the sentence for me. Our club is so small. Anybody?
We meet in a closet.
We meet in a closet. That's great. How about this? Our club is so small, I had to evaluate my own speech. Or our club is so small, I had to use a camera just to have an audience. Okay, our club is so small, instead of calling it Toastmasters, we called it Toastmaster. Okay, the idea is, who wants to have to serve multiple roles in that meeting? How many of you have had to do that? Well, you had to do grammarian and timer or something like that. Yeah, many of us have. Why? How many people do you need to run a meeting? A minimum.
14.
Count the roles. There's 7 roles, and then you might have multiple speakers and things like that. So there's at least 7 that you got to have in that room. Well, your job is to make sure that there are 7 people in the room. So that really stinks. What we really want to do is make it where I don't have to do the role every time. You want to be competing to get those spaces to speak. How many of you are in a club where you've got to plan it out 3 or 4 months before you get a chance to speak? Awesome. You have just stepped into a pretty tough role, haven't you? Because as the previous VP of Public Relations did a good job. But that's okay. That's a good problem to have. Now, my job up here, if I need to get serious for a moment here. Serious for a moment. Okay, I need to get serious for a moment. My job is to transform you all into media moguls. And fortunately, the man upstairs, tell me, I'm not talking about, Kyle, right? Did an awesome job. I mean, he set me up so well. that I could suck and still you would have a wealth of knowledge to take back with you. But this really is the most entertaining part and, in a lot of ways, the most critical part, because without us, you have no people. Without any people, what do you need all the other officers for? So with that, PSA, public service announcement. There are 3 things that I was asked to share with you as Vice Presidents of Public Relations. And this comes from on high, the trio, that is our district director and company. And they are, and I'm going to use the read on this one because I want to make sure that I don't get this wrong. To share information with the community of topics to be discussed at your club for potential new guests. Which, what we're saying is, advertise. Advertise your club and let people know what your club is doing. The second one, if a marketing strategy works, share it on our Facebook page. The D2 Facebook page. I'm going to pause here for a moment. How many of you are on Facebook? And how many of you are not? And this is important. The world is not going to end just because you're not on Facebook. In fact, I like to say, if you ever remember the old smoking commercials, if you don't smoke, don't start. But if you do, try Marlboro. Or if you do, please use Facebook and put the posts on the Toastmasters district page. The idea is that we need to share this with everybody. So spread it around. Great. The third thing is to think radical, innovative, and disruptive ways of marketing. You can get creative. That's what I'm doing right here. I used to work for these guys. All right. But you know what? I'm also really lazy. I really am. I'm a lazy person. In fact, I had a supervisor who hired me because of that. Because he said, if you want to get stuff done efficiently, hire a lazy person. Get them to do it. Why? Because we're going to find the easiest way to do it. And that is, when you're communicating with people, there are 2 ways you can talk when you're trying to promote your club. One is one-on-one. Hey, you should come to my club, and here's why. That's very powerful. I'm getting that one-on-one attention. That will help to move them. Or you can talk to the masses with social media. It's a very light touch, but you're hoping it's more of the shotgun approach, if you will. Targeted, shotgun. What I'm talking about today is that shotgun. You should all already be pretty good at doing the targeted, and everybody in the club should be doing that. So with that in mind, I'm going to cover these techniques starting with Facebook. Now I have a little agenda here, which I didn't share. Didn't share. Oh, shame on me. My sergeant at Assistant Arms, would you please share with our audience? There is no agenda on that paper, which I didn't give you. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what I'm talking about today. I'm going to talk about your social media, I'm going to talk about your static websites, which would be your club's webpage, if you have a club website, and your presentation or your representation on the Toastmasters International website. Those are static pages. They don't really change. And then you have your social media pages where all the action happens. And that's where you get people in. They both have a purpose, and they're very important because without one, the other doesn't work too well. Now, we've already said a few of you don't use Facebook, and that's okay. Take this, if you have other people in your club, let them take this part on, and that's okay. Share this load with them because really, this is a powerful tool, and I have seen it be incredibly successful with several clubs now. Oh, and the other thing that I'm going to talk about here after social media is I'm also going to talk about some traditional marketing things, although I'm really focusing on this because we heard a lot from Kyle. So I've stripped out those things that are on the generic marketing, and I'm going to do a lot of the social media part here. Do any of you ever get asked by people if they want to know about Toastmasters, where can I go to join? And they don't live in your area. They don't live near your club. Anybody ever ask you that and you're like, well, what do you tell them?
Go to the website.
Go to which website?
Toastmasters.
TI.
TI, and click on the Find a Club. And when you click on the Find a Club, and then you can put in what the city is that you want to be shopping near and like how many miles away. And then it'll give you a list on one side, it gives you the map on the other side. I should say the list on one side and the map on the other. What I have found, and as an area director, I have 5 clubs that I am responsible for to help them be successful. Well, the first thing I had to do was I had to find them. I don't know where they are. Here you go, David, here are your 5 clubs. Okay, I go and I look. 2 of the 5, the map, one of them, it did not show them. They were not pinned. The other one was pinned about 4 miles away from where they really are. Why? Well, it turns out that when they input that data for your club address on it, it's just processed. Nobody's typing it in. You need to go and double check that the address for your club is correct. And as you can see from my presentation, the address was wrong for one of them. Anybody here from, by the way, anybody here from Speakeasy? Microsoft Speakeasy? Yes. We work together now. And as you're the VPPR, I tell you, I get the chance to do this here now, go in there and check the address, because it has, in the address it says, Microsoft Building - Millennium D. Take that out of the address part or put it in a different spot of the address, because that is messing up the pin. You can also manually put the pin where it should be, because if you look, it's pinned like miles from where it should be. All of you should do that, because in my search, it looks like maybe a third of them may be wrong. And while that may not hurt you because you know yours is right, it hurts the other club because I just told you, hey, go look them up. And they're looking like, well, there's nobody there. I can't find it. They won't find the clubs. So that's very important. I was going to ask you to check it on the phone, but later, go ahead and check that out. Now, while you're at it, by the way, marketing, feel free to pull out your phone and take a picture of what's going on here and post it on your Facebook page for your club. Which, how many of you have a club Facebook page? So it looks like maybe a third of you or so. Don't be shy. Get out there and get one created and populate it. And I'm not going to go into the details right here, but that you should fill in all the information. This is another way for them to find you. Every chance you get. It's like going fishing. The more hooks you have in the water, the more fish you're going to catch. Yes, question?
What are your thoughts on Facebook group versus Facebook page?
Excellent question. I'm going to touch on that next, in fact, because, oh, and I mentioned your personal club website. So there's some on toastmasterclubs.org, the old free toast, or Easy Speak, right? Easy Speak, Easy Deaf Speak. Wherever you're, make sure that the information there is up to date. And since you have new officers, make sure that it's up to date as well. So with that idea, I'm going to tell you how with this social media you can double your club size for free. Meetup is good, but it's not free. I'm kind of lazy and also kind of frugal. And that is, I'm looking for the fastest ways, the easiest ways to get these people without having to pay a lot of money. So when you're posting these messages, and you mentioned groups or whatnot, well, we're going to start with Facebook. Now you have a message that you're going to give. First of all, what is the message? I'll tell you there are 4 components that I like to include. One is where, that is which social media websites. So where are you going to post this message? 2, what? What is the content? 3, how? What is the best method? Groups, pages? And then when? What are the best times to post? Some of those you have more latitude than others. If you're using Twitter, when you tweet matters. If it's on Facebook, not so much, because it stays up for a long time. There aren't any right or wrong answers on this, but what other social media websites do you use? Anybody want to throw anything out there? LinkedIn, yes. I mentioned Twitter. Has anybody heard of nextdoor.com? That's a good one because you know who you're getting. You're getting your neighbors. These are people you know. And you're looking for different ways to get to know these people. They're already in your area. You know that. I'll talk a little bit about at the end. So preparing for Facebook, there are a couple of things you need to do. One, you have to have a personal account. If you don't, that's another topic. Get somebody who does, especially if you have a club full of people who do. Now, again, if, like Kyle said, if nobody's using it, then bypass that and continue using your traditional methods of marketing. Set up a Facebook page for your club. This is your landing page for your club. This is where you're going to be posting all of the information, from photographs of your club, events, comments, and other chatter that's about your club. That's your landing page for your club. Here's the group part. Join neighborhood Facebook groups. There's no real strong need for a Facebook group for your club. That's the page. Let the page be that. But joining the neighborhood clubs, for example, there is one called Bellevue Scene. There's another one called Kirkland Friendly Kirkland. There's one for Woodinville. There's one for Redmond. There's one for Bothell Community. And the idea is that all the people that live there like to join those clubs. Why is that relevant? I say those groups. Because you're going to be sharing your meeting invites in there. Don't share your meeting invites into things like kayaking, because they don't want to see that. They want to see kayaking. They don't want to see Toastmasters. So use this specifically for those where it's more of a general open thing, but it's a geographical type group. And be sure to friend everyone you know in Toastmasters. That is, every person you have a friend connection in Toastmasters, like all your other officers, you can friend me. Because later we're going to tag them and start inviting them to your meeting. And that's the next thing, is to create a list. In your friends, you can create what they call a friend list. So you can kind of label, hey, this person is somebody that I know from work, and this is somebody that's actually a true friend, right? You can create groups, you can create friend lists in that way. Now, I'm not going to show you, but I'll give you a little quick thing here. I actually created a video that shows all the details of the Facebook parts that you can do, and that's included in that document that I gave you. Once you have a Facebook page, the next thing you want to do after you've populated, you put a picture on the top for the banner on, is you're going to create an event. You're going to create an event that'll be each meeting. Now, you can't create a recurring meeting. Don't try. But if you create the first one, set the date to be somewhere far in the future. Fill all the information in, and I'll give you an example of what to put in a moment, and then save it as draft. The reason you're doing this is now you have a template that you can reuse. And the reason you're putting it far in the future is because once the event passes, you can't reuse it. You can't make a duplicate of it. So you're going to set this one far out in advance. Then when you go into it, you can click on, there's a More button, and you can say, duplicate the event. Now you're working. Set the date to be your next meeting. I like to duplicate these, and typically I'll do a month's worth at a time. So I'll do all of August in the next couple of weeks. And then I'll do all of September toward the end of August. The idea is you're posting those meetings out there. You don't have to do anything with them, and you can just do them one right after, as soon as the meeting is done for this week, I'll go out and post it for the next week, and that's okay too. What do you do with this? Well, you're going to fill in all of the information about your club. Now, you've already posted it on there, and in fact, I'll ask you to take your papers and turn them over, and look on the back side. I have an example. There are 6 questions that I like to answer when I create this event. You can see what they are. Notice that the last W is www, and that is your website. So make sure you have a link to your static website that I mentioned before, because that's the landing page. You want to keep driving people back to your landing page, and that's your website, your club website. Everything, all trails should lead back to that. Give you a moment to look that over, and you can see that an important thing we have there, photos. People love photos. I believe now you can even do videos, but even if not, that putting photos, notice I have two pictures in this example. What are they?
The outside of the building in an active
One is a
meeting.
building, yes. This particular club is kind of tough to find, right? I mean, who's ever been turned away because they're like, you know, I wanted to join Toastmasters, but I couldn't find where they meet. Forget the pin, I couldn't find them inside the building. I didn't even know which building it was. So this shows that's the clubhouse where the club meets. But that's still rather, it's unfriendly. Mary, if you would do me a favor and push the button on that for me. The other photo there is of people you look for. And that's what will bring people in. Not an empty room. If this were an empty room, like, hey, we're having a meeting. Why not have that? Okay. So these are the things you want to include in that. Now, we've said, taking a look at what the example is and what we have there. What do you do with it once you've created this event? Step one, you publish. And you can even set these to schedule if you want to do that. So you can have it so that the moment this meeting is over, it's scheduled out so that they aren't all showing in your list. Your choice. Next, you're going to share it. Now, for those of you who are Facebook people and the rest of you, bear with me, because all of these rules that I'm describing actually apply to every kind of media, or even in person. So when I say you're going to share it to your timeline, you're going to tell people about it. Your close friends, you're going to tell them. The next thing you'll do is share it to those groups. Remember those neighborhood groups I mentioned? Share it there. People love that. It's amazing how much communication I get. I'll tell you. What kind of exposure does this give me? What do you think? If I share it to the Bothell community, how many people do you think see or potentially can see my club's event? Just a guess.
1,000.
Pardon?
1,000.
1,000? Any other guesses?
50.
Oh, wake up.
50.
50 people. Okay, I'll give you a clue. There are more than 1,000 in that group, in that Bothell community group. 5,000. We're getting warmer. Cassie,
50,000.
give a guess. It's more than 5,000.
Okay,
10. We're getting close. It's almost 15,000 people are in this group. Who would like to be able to touch 15,000 people and try to recruit them to come to a meeting? Anybody? Anybody? Let me tell you what this has done. Okay, I know a club that is using this technique that in 6 months they grew by 12 members. Would anyone like to grow their club by 12 members in 6 months? That's our job, so yes, I would hope so. This is how you do it. When we share it to that Bothell community, that's almost 15,000 people who see it, plus the Woodinville because they're next to us, plus Kenmore because they're not far away, plus Mill Creek because they're all driving through us to get to work. And our meeting is at 7 a.m.
Yep.
The next thing you can do, and this is kind of, how shall I say it, sneaky, share it on other clubs' page. Yeah, why? Why would I share my meeting on another club's page? It's more exposure. People will start to react to seeing more opportunities. It's not just about the come to my club, it's about come to Toastmasters. Now, any advanced club members here, any leaders for advanced clubs? Yes. Why would you share your advanced club on another club's page?
When people get their CCs, we invite them to come to our club.
Exactly. The only place you get Toastmasters to come to your club is from other Toastmasters clubs. If you're going to get into an advanced club, the way that works, for those of you who don't know, is you're going to have a home club. But after you've completed a CC manual, or some will say after you've completed at least 6 speeches, then you can join an advanced club in addition to your home club. And they provide opportunities to do other things beyond just your short, simple speeches. Now, another thing that I want to do with this is to invite people. And remember I mentioned that you would tag all of your Toastmaster friends as a Toastmaster list in your friend list? Well, the idea is that when you go in there and you're working on this event, you can click on the share, And then you can say, invite people. And it brings up a form. And you can say, well, I want to invite my friends. Well, who do you want to invite? You probably don't want to bother everybody, but that's okay too if you would like, if you feel they'd be okay with that. But you choose the collection that you've made of that friend list, and then you can say select all, and everybody who's in that friend list, for example Toastmasters, is going to get an invitation to come to your club. I mean, are you going to come to my club meeting? Are you going to come? Willa's Voices, Friday mornings, 7 to 8 p.m. in Bothell. Can you come? Sure. Can you? Really?
Friday at 7?
Friday, 7 to 8 a.m. Now, if you said no, you could still say, that's okay, I like it. I like it. What happens when you like something? It shows up on your timeline. People, hey, look, he liked something. So I may not be trying to recruit you, but now I have just promoted that to everyone you know. That is the power, and I can tell you that it's typically the second degree connections that you'll get the most bang for your buck. That is, we're a direct connection. I know you, well, I don't know you, I'm David. Julian, pleasure. Now we know each other. When we're friends on Facebook, I now have access to all of Julian's friends. I'm not trying to sneak them in, but they are going to see this over and over. And I can tell you this. I have been doing this for a while. If you keep doing this persistently, you will get results. Don't expect people to respond the first time. If you remember, how many times does it take? 5 to 8 times before somebody suddenly says, hey, I see that. It can take another 5 to 10 times before they actually do something with it. Now, with these posts, people are going to respond. You liked it. I'm going to put in a comment. Thank you, Julian. Tell me, you're Julian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, make sure. Thank you, and make a comment there. I had someone who posted a comment to one of the events that I had posted, and she said, hey, is there a club out there for people that are kids? Well, that's not going to help my club any, right? But what did I do? I posted, yes, actually, here is a club. Here's a gavel club for the 18 and under clubs, right? Does that help me? Not directly, but hey, first of all, we're grooming a gavel club who's going to come into Toastmasters someday probably, and I'm helping that other club. It might not be. They might be looking for somebody, well, I don't want to come to a meeting that's at 7 a.m. I don't want to come to a meeting that's in Bothell. I can't do that on Friday. That's okay. There are other clubs out there, and I will put the link for Find a Club, and I'll share that. And what happens? Everybody else who's following that thread is going to see that. And they go, oh. A case in point that I had one time was a friend of mine, personal friend, who was in my Toastmasters club some years ago, and then she dropped out. Work took her away from that. 5 years went by. I've been doing this process where I invite. I've been nagging her for years with these invites. Hey, come to our meeting, come to our meeting. And wouldn't you know it, one day, guess who shows up? Jen shows up. Yeah, I keep getting this, and I'm glad you reminded me. I just changed jobs again, and I could come back. Would she have done that if I hadn't been continually putting that information out there? So know that this is a slow, deliberate process. Another example that I have is Forever Improving Toastmasters. We are an advanced club like yours. A couple nights ago, Thursday night, we had a pool party. Now, in this photograph, you can see we meet at a clubhouse. And that clubhouse is attached to the pool. And well, hey, the weather is finally nice, so we will do our meeting for July and August out by the pool. So we promoted it and promoted it and promoted it. You know what? We had 9, and in fact, Omar was there, and he was a big seller for it. Thank you, sir.
You got it.
He was a big seller for that. We had 7 guests, and 2 of them came all the way from China. Okay. Well, they came because they were visiting their family who was visiting our club, right? But of that, there were 5 who are Toastmasters who were eligible to join our club. One of them joined Thursday night, and 2 others said they're going to. So we just recruited 3 people in one event. This is the kind of persistence that will pay off, and your club is going to love you. So we had one example, 12 new members, not entirely from Facebook, but it's the combination of media coming at people. It is when you bring these all together that they matter. And they call it social proofing. If you tell me something, okay, I've heard it. If both of you tell me something, it has a little more substance. If I also read it on a web page and I see a sign outside the building, all of a sudden it has relevance. And that's what will get people. Now I'll tell you, these same rules that we just described about Facebook apply to LinkedIn. Although you don't create a page for your club, you create a company for your club. I have set up our club's company, but I haven't really been driving it because I'm getting so much success and so much time put into the Facebook page that I haven't taken that avenue. But I highly recommend trying each of them and finding what works for you, especially in your target. And there are ways you can do that targeted marketing in the same way. With that, we got the wave, and I'm a little bit curious because I'm right at 31, and I should have some time for some questions.
You have 3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes that I can, okay, so what I wanted to say is, we talked about Twitter. I want you to look on this page, and this is a checklist for you to go through. The first part is you as your new role. Here are things you can do. Then there's a segment of repeating for each meeting. And then down at the bottom, you see that real media and more ideas. The printed media that you can download is useful, and you want to get all of these different avenues. And I'll tell you, when we talk about the creative, where did my pen go? Yes. If anyone is interested in joining an advanced club, I have a pen with our address. That's what we mean by creative. Getting buttons that say, I'm a Toastmaster. People are going to go, what is that? Yeah? You want to get them having the conversation. And the idea is, with all of this, the 3 things that you're looking for, and I've even included them on the back side of this because these are my key points, is your job is whatever you want it to be. Unlike all the other roles, this is your job to just take and run with. You need to be persistent, consistent, and be everywhere. And that's what the web helps you to do. And then, as we've heard multiple times, keep making the message available, because it takes many times before you'll get the results. With that, I open the floor to any questions that you might have. And I'd love to hear, too, we have a comments sheet. Make sure that you fill out the comments and tell me, not what I did well and pat me on the back, but tell me, yes, this was good, and I'd like something different. Thank you. Question? Trey.
Is there any ratio of how many times, if you bring in 2 visitors, 10 visitors, how many will typically join?
That is a problem for the VP of membership and the whole club. The answer is there isn't, because every club is different. And as we heard from Kyle was saying, you know, we get all these visitors, but nobody ever joins. Well, one of the things, and you're in my club, Trey, I think that we have an incredibly high success rate. The number of people that walk in the door to the number of people who actually convert is amazing for that club. And I think that just goes to speak to the value of the club. What kind of value you're providing in the club. And that is a big part of your job too. Making sure that the club runs well and is warm and friendly. And everybody should be coming up and greeting them. I know when people walk in our club, it's like everybody's walking up, almost waiting their turn to shake their hand. Other questions?
Do you have a soft copy of the handout? I will share with other people.
A soft copy. Send me an email. You have my email address, right? Send me an email and I can do that. If anybody else would like that, I can give you my email address. Any other questions? Great. Well, go out there and be fruitful and multiply your club membership.
I'd like to thank you, David, for this outstanding presentation. Appreciate it. I hope you're all able to take something home and go forth and prosper. But for right now, before you go home, please remember to go back upstairs for the ending of the program. And if you'd like me to take your evaluation as you leave, I'll be happy to do that with you. Thank you.